Hi there. Um, I'm just going to show you very quickly how I play with the gorgeous Layers of Beauty stamp set, masks and dies, because I think these might be my favorite things out of the catalogue at the moment, the annual catalogue at the moment. I just love them. I'm not a fan of colouring, so masks like these make it so easy. This is one of the first cards I did, and I actually was inspired by a card that my father gave my mother in 1963 or 64 for their anniversary. It was pretty much the same, yellow roses on a blue card. I used lemon lolly and old olive. You can see the shading in it, but what I did differently is I heat embossed with gold. So I stamped, then with the Versamark, sprinkled on the Wow embossing powder because that stuff is brilliant, heat embossed it, and then I coloured it, and I just loved it. So after that, I did this one, stepped it up a bit. This is a bit more like the one Mum had, and I went a step further and die cut it and then used dimensionals to mount it onto a rectangle that I cut with the deckled rectangle dies. Heat embossed the happy anniversary, and I don't know if the shimmer shows up. It might, yep. Went a bit crazy with the wink on this one, and it's just blank inside. Then I got even more carried away and decided I'd try different colours. So I went with the old olive, berry burst, and that's just berry burst. So with the layers on the masks, you can use one colour and it will build up the depth of colour in the image for you, or you can use different colours if you want to. I love the effect of just using one colour, the lemon lolly, and it just builds up. Berry burst, and layer after layer after layer, the concentration just builds. It's gorgeous. And on this one, on the inside, I stamped and used the masks to colour again. Tipped it round, tipped the stamp around, changed the profile of it, and again went a bit crazy with the wink, but I do love me a bit of wink. Okay, so in the very beginning, when I was first starting, I wasn't sure about it because they look lovely when they're die cut, but they're pretty flat, I think, just stamped with black and then coloured. So I tried that one, and I tried this one. This one I actually used Pebble Path instead of black. It softens it just a little bit on the colouring. I tried it without stamping the outline first, and that's an interesting, it gives it an interesting effect. Again, just building up the layers of colour with this one. And this one I used Bubble Bath, Pretty in Pink, and a little tiny bit of Lemon Lolly over the top of it. So it just gives a bit of shading and a bit of dimension to it. They don't look quite as finished if they're not stamped first. These are very, remind me very much of the old-fashioned Victorian scrapbooking images that used to be around, well, they're around up until about the 1970s, I think. I have some that were my grandma's, and they'd be cut out, but they were images that were stamped with a black outline, then coloured with those. Having the dies to be able to cut it out so you can mount it on a card is fabulous. Makes life so much easier. So that's just some of the ones I've done. Some of the other things I've done with it, because I really like playing with this, is this is a piece of Pretty in Pink, and I don't know if you can see it. There we go. That's better. Stamped in Pretty in Pink and heat embossed with the clear Wow embossing powder. It's just something little. I wanted to try it to see how it would work. I don't mind it. I don't know whether I'd colour it. I don't know. I was just playing with this, but that's another thing you can do with it. And on the back, yeah, just stamped in the Pretty in Pink on Pretty in Pink. So it's quite flat. The heat embossing does lift it, does really lift it and make it look super special. I'll leave those two. This is one I was playing with, just an image I was playing with at Craftaways. I'm not sure what I'll do with it yet, but I quite like that I use different colours. I think that's granny apple green for the leaves for a change. Again, heat embossed with the gold. What I found too is with the gold and the heat embossing, you can go like crazy with your blending brushes or your sponge dauber if you want to use those, and go over the heat embossing, and it resists it. We all know that. So it still stays nice and gold. Now, here's one done in Pebbled Path. What I did with this, and it's heat embossed. So what I did was stamped it in Pebbled Path, then I stamped it with Versamark, then sprinkled it with the clear, the Wow Clear. Where did I put it? The Wow Clear embossing powder, and heat set it. I thought I didn't mind the way that turned out. It works a bit better than trying to heat emboss straight onto the Pebble Path. This one was Berry Burst, same deal. Stamped it in Berry Burst, then stamped over it with the Versamark, sprinkled it with the clear embossing powder and heat set it. So I'm really pleased with the way they turned out. I, again, don't know what I'll do with them, but I like playing around and trying different things. If you don't like colouring, this is for you. So I have this image here. Whoops, sorry about that. It is just stamped in the Pebbled Path with my masks. They are numbered 1 through 5, but the numbers are really tiny and really hard to see. So I just went through with a Sharpie and numbered them. When I am using these for colouring, I'm going to flip it round, lining it up, and once I do that and get it lined up until I'm happy with it, and that doesn't look too bad, I will take a pencil, if I can find one, biro will do, and I will make a mark there, and I will do a mark there and there and there, just on the corners and there, so that when I go to line up the second mask, the third mask, the fourth mask, the last mask, if I put them within those lines, it should line up perfectly, and that's ready to start. So I've got 3 different colours here, and I'm going to start with, I think I'm going to start with, don't want to take my fingers off, I don't want it to move, the Petunia Pop. And a blending brush, and it's so simple. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And this is great if you have customers or students who aren't sure about colouring, give them a go with the masks. They will love it. And the beauty is everyone is slightly different. None of them are going to be the same. Okay. Ta-da. That's number one. Number two, line it up within my marks. Okay. And we'll go berry burst. Here's my here we go. Can't find it. Sorry, should have been a bit more organised. Just over the top. So easy. So easy. Now, you don't have to use 3 different colours. You can use the same colour and just build on it as I have with the others. It's looking pretty. Number 3, still the flowers. Okay, so I'll pop that in there. Pop that in there, pop that in there. Make sure it's within my pencil marks. And this will be the darkest part. Oh, maybe the lightest part. We'll see. I'm going to use for this, I want to use Blackberry Bliss. Just because I can. Now, if you decide you don't like them or you want a bit more colour somewhere, then you lay that mask down again and you just go over it. You don't need to, oh, pretty. You don't need to fuss too much. Green. What green will I use? What green can I find? That would be a help. Oh, here we go. Garden green. Not my favourite, but it will do. It's a good rosy green. This garden green. Number 4. Now, you'll notice the masks are all covered in ink. And that's fine because guess what? They wash. Right. Now I'm just going to slightly get there, just make sure it's lining it up, being a bit OCD about it, but that doesn't seem to be quite the way I want it to be. Okay. All right. And then we go with the green. So easy for colouring and quick, really quick, which is good too. Okay, and the last one is number 5, and I'm still going to stay with the garden green and just build on that colour. Get the depth in. And when I'm finished, I'll have a look and I'll see how it turns out. If I'm happy with it, I might go back and add some colour. Whoops, moved it. Don't do that, Kath. There we go. That's your image done. All coloured. That's it there, ready to be die cut or fussy cut or run through your scan and cut, whatever, and used. That's how easy it is. It only takes a few minutes to do all that colouring, build all those layers, but there is so much you can do with these masks. So if you don't like colouring, you're not sure about layering and building up colour, masks are the way to go. This is the Layers of Beauty. I absolutely adore it. I am thrilled to bits with the way it turns out. even these ones that I haven't used yet. I have learned with the heat embossing, your embossing buddy is essential. Where is he? Just here. To dust before you stamp with your Versamark. The amount of static you get on your cardstock will depend on the weather, on where it's been stored, how often it's been touched, all sorts of things. So your embossing buddy is vital. And when you are stamping with your Versamark, a Stamparatus really helps. If you've got access to one, I know they're discontinued. If you've got Stamparatus or a stamping platform of some kind, use it. It's a really big stamp, and going over it a couple of times really helps. And then don't be stingy with the embossing powder. Layer it up nice and thick and let it sit for a couple of seconds before you shake it off. It just seems to heat set better. So you can see it's so much nicer, and you get a really good, crisp, clean emboss, heat emboss. So, and this one probably shows it a bit better because it's all different colors, but you get a really nice outline if you do those things. Really simple, but don't be stingy. Oh, and one last thing. Before you turn the heat gun on, make sure you've put the embossing powder back in the jar and put the lid on. Otherwise, it goes everywhere. That's the way I use the layers of beauty, the stamps, the masks and the dies. I love them. I'm really pleased with them, and I have a lot of fun with them. I hope you do too.